Welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to create a quilled coil for our quilling project. Quilling is the art of taking paper and making little strips into these wonderful little shapes and then creating kind of a collaged three-dimensional sculpture out of that. So in order to show you properly how to create the coil in the first place, I decided I'd make one video that was really close up so you could actually see what was going on. So here's your quilling tool, and it has a little slot in it right there. You can kind of see it as I rotate it on my finger. And that slot is made so that you can take a piece of paper, a thin strip of paper, you can kind of gauge, it's about I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or so, and slide that piece of paper through the slot so you can see it there through the slot. And basically you want to take that and line it right up with the end, and then as you hold with your middle finger and your thumb, keep your index finger on the end of the point and then start to roll it. And you can see how I'm twisting it with my thumb and my index finger of my right hand, and I'm holding it still. I'm kind of pulling with my middle finger and thumb and keeping the end here with my index finger from like getting too out of shape. And what you can do is you can curl this, and I'll hold my finger so you can actually see it. Basically you just take this and twirl it until you run out of paper. So the end of my paper is coming up here. If I turn, you can see the end of my paper kind of rolling in there. And you roll that up, and then I like to get it tight like that and then give it one last twist and kind of hold it for a second. And then to make a tight coil, you can take this, and then I have a little blob of glue here on the paper and this thing called a pin tool. And you take the pin tool and you get just a little bit of glue on the end of the pin, and then you rub it on the inside of that paper. You don't want so much on it that it squishes out and gets dirty, but you don't want so little that it doesn't end up gluing either. And then you just roll it closed and hold it for a second. And then you can take your thumb and kind of push the paper off the tool like that and kind of pull it, and then that creates what's called a tight coil. Okay, if we do the same thing with if we do the same thing with another piece here, we can make a larger coil. And this is kind of awkward the first couple times you do it, but then as you do it more and more, you can get really pretty quick with it, and it works out pretty nicely as far as being able to do it quickly. So here's my coil. Then if I let go, it kind of unravels, and you can kind of see it unraveling. And depending on how large you want it, you can kind of guesstimate on the size of it. And then you do the same thing. You just get your little pin tool here, glue the bottom, choose the size that you want, and then hold it down like that. So if I hold, I just wiped my pin tool off, and then if I kind of hold that together for a second while it's gluing, then I can have a coil that looks more open like that. Then depending on what you like, you can have the coil down or over to one side, and depending on what shape you're making, you can make those shapes a little more interesting looking. So if I pull out my example here of different kinds of shapes, you can have like a closed coil, which is what I just got done making, or the tight coil, which I just got done making, a teardrop shape where you've actually got the piece bent up into a teardrop, a petal shape where you do a teardrop and bend it to the side, a marquee where it looks kind of like an eyeball, it's pointed on both ends, a leaf shape, a half moon shape, and basically you can squish these paper coils into whatever kind of shape you want. And our first lesson is to make all these different kinds, so that you can get practice doing a variety of different shapes for your quilling. So that is how you take a simple strip of paper and use your pin tool to glue it and your quilling tool with the little slot on it to quill your paper. Okay, and I'll start the next video now about all the different shapes.